In cultures all around the world, consumers of media share their love for the infamous underdog story, the one person that pushes a limit far beyond what anyone else thought was possible. Even in real-life sports, upsets from the underdogs are almost always the most viewed. Humans love to dream about the things they're not able to do themselves. Is it possible that we just refuse to believe that we are limited as humans in our capabilities, and can refuse to admit that we have goals that we cannot reach? This is defining a skill cap.
You have reached your limit. You cannot win.
Yes, I can!
Do humans have a limit to their skill? I'm going to be using the video game Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as a means of discussing this topic. I feel like video games are a great benchmark for this kind of subject, but the rules can apply to any competitive environment. Does every person have a set skill cap towards how far they can advance in their abilities to do well in a competitive task? Dazed, an ex-professional CSGO player known for his in-game leading skills, theorized that every player has a base starting point on how skilled they are in a game, and a cap on how much better they can improve. Their base skill can be described as talent, with the ability they reach as a skill cap. Referring back to one of my personal favorite games, the internet is full of videos that can help you learn and master any given skill. But I wanted direct opinions from the local Smash players in the scene. This brought me to a small local Smash tournament in Hartford, Connecticut.
It's definitely the consistency factor, just to be able to play at that high of a level, like pretty much day in and day out, because that's their livelihood. They're playing for money in the tournaments. So to see them make very little mistakes with their gameplay and to always make the right option when playing against the opponent, that's hard. It's really impressive. You can see the amount of hours they put in whenever they play.
Consistency is very impressive because there's so many characters, especially in a game like Smash Brothers, there's so many different characters. You have to know so much about the game in order to be able to perform at a consistently high level.
If you have a certain amount of hours that you invest in something, eventually you'll be just as good as somebody else who may be just naturally gifted at it, because you'll just keep on learning and learning and learning, while that person could maybe sit down and immediately play the piano. If it takes you a couple years to get to that skill, eventually you'll match up. Like, I know some people, in regards to like the Smash community, some people just have a knack for this game. Some people are really good at fighting games.
If they're able to perform consistently and not feel like they're working, that's some natural talent that isn't really learned over the course of time. That's just an ability you have.
When I was first coming to the Smash Club here on campus, I would just play against somebody, maybe lose, maybe win, depending on how it went, and we wouldn't talk about it. And now when I sit down next to anybody I play with, like, advice is being shared back and forth.
When I'm playing, there's definitely barriers I feel like I have. Specifically with my teammates, we practice all the time together, and one day I'll be beating them every single day, and I know what I'm doing. The next day I can't win a game.
Once I started taking this more seriously and going to tournaments, that's when the practice kicked in. That was when I need to be practicing 2 or 3 hours a couple times a week just to make sure I can keep up with everybody.
I watch games and think about games when I was just beginning Smash Ultimate, and to think about how much of a better player I am now than I was then is astonishing to me.
If I played this game literally every day for 4 hours a day, yeah, I could be a top player, but that's not my focus. That's not what I want to be doing.
Intermediate player could probably teach you something about the game. A lot of times you don't think you have the ability to be a top level player, but then if you start putting the work into it and start looking at your matches, whatever, you'll be able to see that you are able to start making these decisions against people, and you'll get better results because of it. People, I believe, do not have a skill cap when it comes to fighting games, because the game is always, even though they may never release a patch again to change a character, the numbers are always still the same. Different ways to play will always be changing.
People do have a skill cap that they'll eventually hit, in which they can't improve anymore. And usually that roadblock where that cap is kind of, it's like a willingness to learn, or a willingness to put in that more time. because some people will get to like a certain point, they're not improving anymore, and they're not gonna have the drive anymore to try to improve. They'll hit, say, like top 10, and trying to get to top 5 is, you know, like 2,000 more hours on top of that they need to invest in order to get there, and not everybody's willing to put in that effort.
Playing against your opponent not as a character but as a person is a very important aspect to these games. So being able to have that skill makes you so much better.
Have patience, because growth takes time, that improvement takes time. And also, when you're playing the match, don't be rushing in, don't be making hasty decisions trying to make the game end. My recommendation is play who you like, because you're not going to want to put the time in to get better if you don't like who you're playing.
Synthesis, the largest Smash Ultimate weekly in Connecticut. A casual occurrence for some of the best players, including Peach Technician Ling Ling, Pac-Man main Kiwi, and the Fox main himself, Paris Light Ramirez, rated 10th on the Spring PGR.
The people who are at the top play other people at the top who are at the top of their scene. Intermediate players, they kind of got to prove themselves before these people will. You got to prove that you're worth their time too.
The good players will be able to win with the same tricks and the same moves that they always use against lower level players. But until they're ready to change and practice and try, they're never going to hit the level of the great players.
Consistency is what matters. I mean, we could all make flashy moves. Sometimes I lose to people and I'm like, it's okay, I'm never going to play them again, because I know they won't be able to make their run again, to be honest.
If you're talented and you don't put in the work, you just don't even make the limelight. But if you're like in an actual, well, a physical sport, I should say, if you play a physical sport and you're talented, that laziness can cut you off. And you can be like the best that never was.
I actually do remember when he tweeted this. I thought it was a little stupid, because talent can be a burden, but like you're only being a burden on yourself in a way. Because I wouldn't say I was very talented at games first. I think I'm very talented at games now, but only because I work so hard. So like you could work towards a talent and just be naturally good from there on. All I say to that is that when you find yourself talented at it, you should also work hard with it, so you could just keep becoming better and better.
There were times where I would hit that wall and get frustrated because I didn't know what to do, and I didn't have resources to know what to do. But ever since I've started coming to locals, playing in person with people who will help you, people who will say, hey, you're shielding too much, I feel like I have really, really improved.
I've definitely hit walls all the time. I feel like every time I lose a tournament, I do hit a wall. But a big wall I hit was like a little bit after, I think it was Prime Saga. I actually just stopped top 8ing, which is crazy to me because literally I top 5'd every event I've competed in up until that point, and that was like 5 or 6 months. So like when that happened, it was just like huge for me. I didn't know like how to adapt. I wasn't doing very well. I kept getting like 17th place. But like to get through it, you just need to keep trying to find answers. People think it's frustrating to find a bunch of answers that don't like work out, but you're just narrowing it down. Like by getting all these other answers out the way that were wrong, you're narrowing it down and you're just coming closer to finding the right answer.
You see, anyone can be dedicated, but not everyone is talented. But there is a skill cap. Everyone's got a skill cap. It's higher than what you think it is, but it's lower than what your biggest fan thinks it is.
A lot of people are gonna have to do it longer than others. So I agree with the cap, but I also feel like I don't think the cap is necessarily a bad thing. I think everybody has a very good rate of where their cap, where they can be a top player, but it just takes longer than others for them to do so. Like I know somebody who's played the game for as long as I have and is not nearly as good as me. But I do think if he played longer, he could get there. But at the same time, if I played longer, I will be better than him by then. We cap somewhere, but I think no one ever reaches their cap.
Most of us by now have heard of someone saying that they never improve. It's hard to prove why bad players are bad, and it's easier to prove why good players are good. I've always been a competitive person throughout my entire life. Everything I did, I wanted to be better than the person sitting next to me. As fun as it all could be equally as stressful. Trying to reach your potential and seeing yourself fail is a difficulty that not many can handle, and all too often I see people forgetting about their passion and only looking at the results. Although I cannot provide a definite answer of people that do have skill caps and cannot push beyond, I do have advice that can be significantly more valuable. Seeing improvement or not, you learn about yourself every minute you spend training. Not only are you practicing how to work hard, a skill valuable in every task, but you are proving to yourself that you are worth your own time. More importantly, I truly believe that the key to improving is to having fun with what you're doing. The worry of self-improvement and this barrier oftentimes becomes so overwhelming that we forget to enjoy the process. But many times, the people that put in all this hard work don't reach their goals in the end, no matter how much they try. Oftentimes people make this mistake and regret the time they spent working hard. All this energy that you put into the game, as long as you enjoy it, it's all worth it. Win or lose, if you struggle with yourself every day, hating what you do, and only look blindly at the results, not only will it impede your progress, but you will set yourself up for unhappiness. Any results you do get should be benefit on top of another. Enjoy the process.